Broadcasting down in the bayou, it's Mark Out Mania, a podcast featuring two average Joe wrestling fans talking about the business they love and so much more. And now, here's Ryan Keith and Patrick Fry.
And welcome to episode 4. And I think I keep saying that wrong. It should be like episode. I keep saying it with an A, it almost sounds like.
Episode? Is it like the beginning you say episode? Or?
Well, no, I don't say episode. I think I say episode.
It sounds right to me. I never heard anything out of the ordinary, so you think you're doing just fine.
Yeah, we're back, baby. We had a break for the holidays. You took a big old trip to Tennessee.
Yeah, man. Took a trip up just to get away for a few days up to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I got my Gatlinburg shirt on right here and went hiking in the mountains up there in the Smoky Mountains. And it was really cool because, and this is actually somewhat wrestling related, we were driving up there, and you probably seen the picture I took in front of Neyland Stadium.
Right.
We passed on the University of Tennessee campus, and we passed by the arena that's on the campus, and it was Thanksgiving morning that we pull up there, and sure enough, I see the sign because the following Monday, WWE Raw was going to be from that very same arena. So I think it was just Seth Rollins and a couple of other superstars on there. I said, hey, look, Raw's going to be there. And unfortunately, we came back to Louisiana the day before that.
Dang.
I was like, man, we need to stay one more day just so I can go watch Monday Night Raw up in Knoxville. But yeah, it was a fun trip. Nice to get away for Thanksgiving with some friends and go up there hiking and enjoy the scenery. The scenery was absolutely beautiful, and I would definitely go back to Gatlinburg ASAP.
Right, so we got a few things to catch up on. First, Patrick, let them know what they're going to hear in this episode.
All right, today's episode, I'm going to run it down here for you real quick. We're going to go over Survivor Series a little bit. We need to catch up and tell you what's been going on the Raw and SmackDown brands since Survivor Series. Also, we're going to give you an update on the New Japan World Tag League event that's going on. That'll be wrapping up in the next 8 days. Also, the Rumor Mill. Got a couple of things to talk about. A lot of things involving what's going to be happening next year, the Royal Rumble, and some other events as well. And also, Cheap Heat. A long time WWE employee was reportedly released this week. I think we can confirm he was released. Also, a big kind of a brawl, I guess, in the NFL we're going to kind of discuss a little bit. And also a heel turn as well that happened this past week on SmackDown. We're going to talk about that as well. So, Ryan, tell them where they can find us on social media.
Right. Your central hub is MarkOutMania.com. That's where you can get to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spreaker, Patreon. Where else? What are we on? On our Discord server. Now, really cool about the Discord server, real quick. Once you become $1 a month Patreon on our Patreon account, you are able to hear our show live as it happens. And we're going to do our first episode on the Discord next week on the 10th. And we have a huge announcement at the end of the show who our big guest is going to be. And he's a really big deal on the internet. So I'm really excited about this. He loves wrestling. So we're going to talk to him next week. Also, we want to talk about our social media real quick. Twitter, Facebook. Like we said, we're huge fans of wrestling. So we're always posting really interesting stuff. Videos. Today we posted a live pay-per-view event from 1996, and it's just stuff like that. Alexa Bliss dancing.
I mean, hey, I was very excited when you put that video up. I was like, oh, yes, Ryan knows. He knows me too well. I know a lot of you guys out there, you cannot, unless you, of course, are not straight, you cannot deny the gorgeousness of Alexa Bliss, as well as many other WWE women wrestlers as well. But Alexa Bliss dancing, I will, yes, please, I will see that. I will check that out any day of the week.
So we're always posting tons of content to our social media. So if you're a wrestling fan, you're going to enjoy it. So find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, just search Mark Out Mania. Now, real quick, Facebook polls. We've been putting those up because we want to know what you guys think.
Yeah.
So the first poll we put up is when WWE was doing Starrcade. Mm-hmm. We put on there, do you agree with WWE's decision not to show Starrcade on the network? And it was unanimous, 100% no.
I didn't agree with it. I think, I don't know what they were trying to do with it. Apparently, it was a great success because they're actually going to bring it back next year. I did see that on Reddit. They're going to bring it back next year, so that's pretty cool. And I'm wondering if they're going to start maybe doing that to more house shows, giving it some kind of brand name like Starrcade or whatever the case may be, because it was a very successful event. We had a the most popular video going around was the Arn Anderson spine buster he put on Dolph Ziggler, man. The Double A, man, he still got it.
He got it.
So that was pretty cool. That and had a couple of other things that happened during Starrcade. Unfortunately, us subscribers on the network didn't get to see it, but the fans, I think it was over in Charlotte. Am I
Greensboro.
correct? Or Greensboro. It was in North Carolina. So, and they said it was like the best show that they've had in that market maybe ever. So, really good. Well, that the house shows are getting these brand names put on them and making them a little bit more special, like with the special appearance from Double A and all that. So a really good job there from WWE putting it, the Starrcade brand back out there. But next time, hey, look, we pay $10.99 a month or what is 90? I don't even know what it is anymore. Yeah. It's about 10 something with tax, but hey, we pay that because we want to see the special events like that as well because we enjoy it. So hopefully next year they'll put it on the network and maybe do a couple of more events like that as well.
Now I think I want to change my vote on that. I voted no on the poll. I think I would vote yes now because a guy, I can't remember if it was from the 434 or something like that, he said that they wanted to do something special for Greensboro, and if it was on the WWE network, then it wasn't exclusive to them. And I was like, you know what? That kind of makes sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
At first I was like, how are you going to take WCW's biggest event, slap it in the face, and make it a house show? But then once I saw his reasoning, I was like, you know what? I think I agree with it now.
Maybe they'll bring Starrcade to like Lake Charles next year.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I'll line up right now to go check that out because
that would be amazing.
Because it really was a good show. It was a good little card, and it was a great show. Nothing really major happened, but it was some cool surprises here and there, and it was a nice match between AJ Styles and Jinder Mahal. I think it was in a steel cage for the WWE Championship. So it was a really good card. It was really good, a very successful event for WWE.
Yeah, and that cage was so old school. It was so rickety. I thought it was going to fall when AJ was getting on top of it and swaying back and forth like crazy. I was like, oh man, this is no good.
You fear for his life.
Yeah. So our most recent Facebook poll was, where do you think champions should wear the strap? 60% said around the waist, and 40% said shoulder, holding, etc. And we had some really good discussion on that poll as well. Yeah. So that's what we're aiming for. We want to get our listeners and our fans involved, and I think polls are a great way to do it because obviously people love expressing their opinions, and we want to hear your opinions.
Yeah, exactly. We want to interact with you guys, not just here on the podcast, but obviously through social media because we can do that on a daily basis, whereas we only put out a weekly show for you guys. So we want to hear you guys, not just, when we're doing the podcast, and we don't want to give you our input just on the podcast. We want to give our input, because we give a certain amount of input, obviously, here on the podcast, but we can expand on that through social media, through leaving comments, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on Twitter, whatever the case may be. We can expand on what we say here on the podcast through social media. So, and obviously, you guys are a big part of that.
Exactly. So find us on social media, and of course, you can do that at the hub, MarkOutMania.com.
So, let's get things started. We're going to talk now. We did skip last week, so we didn't really get to talk about the aftermath of Survivor Series. Of course, the big story out of Survivor Series is the tension that is between Triple H and Kurt Angle. Obviously, for those of you who watched Survivor Series, you know that Team Raw did defeat Team SmackDown, but it was sort of like Triple H basically turning his back on the Raw brand. More than likely, it was Kurt Angle. Hit Kurt Angle from behind, pulled Shane over Kurt Angle, eliminating Kurt Angle, and at that point you're thinking, holy smokes, like, is Triple H going, like, now is he working for SmackDown? What's the deal? And then, of course, Triple H betrays Shane when Shane, for a second, because it was 3 against 1. It was Angle, Strowman, and Triple H versus Shane. Now, come on now. At that point, you knew Raw was going to win, but how were they going to win? Well, Triple H obviously double-crosses Kurt Angle, and Strowman actually, was standing on the apron there as Triple H pins Shane and wins the match for Raw, and then Strowman obviously chokes out Triple H, and Triple H, is now apparently afraid of Braun Strowman. Then again, everybody is afraid of Braun Strowman. Yes. So you kind of have something there going on between Triple H and Angle, and now maybe Triple H and Strowman, and we'll dive into that a little bit more in the rumor mill, because obviously I think there are some plans down the road for Triple H and Strowman and Angle as well. What are your thoughts on the whole Triple H and Angle thing?
I think it's good for business. Obviously, people want to see it. Wish they were a little bit younger, but hey, let's roll with it.
Yeah, obviously, Triple H has always been in the shape to perform very well. I mean, obviously he's not, the full-time wrestler that he used to be, but on the big stages like a WrestleMania, Survivor Series, or SummerSlam, whatever the case may be, he is able to step in the ring and put some of these younger guys over. And granted, Kurt Angle is not one of these younger guys, but, he's just coming back after was about a 9-10 year hiatus from WWE. Coming back, people were questioning whether or not he was going to wrestle. And at one point, a couple of months ago, there was no plan of Kurt Angle wrestling this calendar year. And we got to see him wrestle twice. Of course, the first time he got to team up with The Shield after Roman Reigns got sick. And then he got to lead Team Raw into Survivor Series as the team captain and the general manager, of course, too. So, we're getting a lot more Kurt Angle than we thought we were going to get. And, of course, I'm not complaining. But now it looks like down the line we're going to get Kurt Angle and Triple H, which really, it's the COO versus the Raw general manager. It'll be interesting because, let's face it, there's going to be a lot more on the line than just a win and a loss here between these two guys. Something's going to make this match really, really epic. Maybe, if Kurt Angle loses, you're out of here. If Triple H loses, I don't know what the stipulations could be, but I feel like something big is going to come out of this match between Triple H and Kurt Angle. If it happens, of course, nothing's official, but that is the way it looks like it's going to go.
Right, and hopefully they don't make Angle lose, because, he's definitely made the Raw brand better since he's been back.
Absolutely.
And, of course, obviously we've seen in the past when you have something against, Stephanie or Triple H, they lose, but they come back anyway.
Yeah. 3 years ago when, the Authority lost the traditional Survivor Series match when Sting debuted, a month later, they're back in power.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how they go along that, because the thing is, Kurt Angle, it's almost like the storyline with the Authority versus Daniel Bryan. And, of course, Daniel Bryan, ironically, now the other general manager. But this time you have Kurt Angle, the general manager, going up against the Authority, which Stephanie's the commissioner, Triple H is the COO. Still, they're in much higher power than Kurt Angle is. And Kurt Angle still has that bit of power himself, but only to, obviously, the Raw roster, compared to he has no power over Stephanie and Triple H. So somewhat maybe similar of a storyline there of what could happen, be Kurt Angle basically versus the Authority. So looking forward to seeing just Kurt Angle, because when Kurt Angle came back, I think it took him a little bit of time to kind of get his mojo back as far as cutting promos, because that's all he could do. He couldn't wrestle. And just kind of become Kurt Angle again. And now I feel like he's starting to become not just Kurt Angle, the general manager, but Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist, as you probably saw on Raw the night after Survivor Series. Went into the ring, got it right in Triple H's face and said, "This is not the general manager talking to you. This is the Olympic gold medalist and WWE Hall of Famer. Next time you hit me or attack me from behind, I'm coming for you. You can take this job and shove it because I'm coming for you." And that, I loved it. And then, of course, Stephanie had to shut that down real quick. Well, guess what, Kurt? You're only the general manager talking to the COO, so you better step back. So it's going to be interesting between now and WrestleMania how they're going to build this up, and just, oh man, I can't wait to see those two get in the ring, because let's face it, they're two great wrestlers, and they're going to, despite their age, they're going to put on one hell of a show.
Oh yeah, they can still go.
So
for sure.
So that's what's going on with at least that's what happened after Survivor Series. Now we kind of look on the Raw a little bit. Well, let's talk about some other things that happened at Survivor Series. Obviously, Brock Lesnar defeated AJ Styles, and that was a really good match. That match should have gone last, in my opinion. I think I tweeted it out a couple of weeks ago. That match should have been last. That was an excellent match. Of course, any match that AJ Styles is in is an excellent match. It doesn't matter who's on the other side of the ring. Let's see some other matches that went on that night. Of course, obviously the champions versus champions. Baron Corbin defeated The Miz, and somewhat of a surprise there. It was a little surprise to me that Baron Corbin defeated The Miz, especially after, I don't know, I just felt like after everything that happened, Miz would somehow get the upper hand on that.
Exactly. And then tying back in our social media, we pretty much were on top of the story that the reason why The Miz dropped that match was because, he was getting ready to film The Marine. Mm-hmm. And, of course, then he went on to lose the title coming up. But, I don't get the whole Baron Corbin thing. His hair is dumb to me. So I can't get over that. I don't know. I can't get into Baron Corbin.
He just doesn't have that it factor. It's like
Exactly.
The Miz, as much as I kind of, I guess, dislike his character, obviously, like I'm supposed to because he is a heel, Miz sort of has like that it factor. He can cut. He is one of, if not the best promo cutter in the WWE full time, at least today.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin, he's okay on the mic and he's okay in the ring, but there's something missing from him, and I think it's that it factor. I don't know what it is. He just doesn't have that it factor, kind of like the Miz does. So it was a little bit of a surprise that he went over on the Miz at Survivor Series.
And if I see him slide under the ring and wrap around the ring post and come back in, it's like, okay, you don't have time to prepare for this move? Come on, man.
So that was another match, kind of a little bit of a shocking a result there at Survivor Series. The Usos defeated Cesaro and Sheamus. Charlotte Flair defeated Alexa Bliss. Obviously, we talked about Brock Lesnar defeated AJ Styles. The Shield defeated The New Day. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn defeated Breezango. Enzo Amore retained the Cruiserweight Championship against Kalisto. And Elias defeated Matt Hardy, which I'm going to go ahead and segue into this now. Matt Hardy now stepping away from Elias. He looks like he's having a feud with Bray Wyatt, and it looks like WWE... they're finally going to pull the trigger on this broken gimmick. Instead, they're going to call it Woken. And the thing that frightens me about that, they're changing the name. Hopefully, they don't really change up the gimmick or anything, because they need to keep it exactly like it was. Because now, you obviously, Jeff Hardy is hurt. He should be back for WrestleMania. He's expected to be back for WrestleMania. But we still have, obviously, 4 months until WrestleMania, so you need something for Matt to do. And right now, with this, you pull the trigger on this broken gimmick, or woke, I don't even know what to call it anymore, but I'm going to call it broken because that's what the originating gimmick was. You pull the trigger on that, especially against a guy like Bray Wyatt, who is, just a weird guy in himself.
Yeah.
If they do this right, this feud could be magic.
Yes.
And we actually do have an audio clip from a video that Matt Hardy posted on his YouTube account back on November the 30th, which is about 4 days ago. So here is that clip that Matt Hardy, and you won't be able to see it, obviously, but if you want to see it, go to Matt Hardy's YouTube page. But this is the audio clip, this little 29-second audio clip that Matt Hardy posted on his YouTube account. The title of this is called It Has Begun.
Signor, procure my coat of battle. White, rojo. Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, take that for what it's worth. And I mean, he's been posting all kinds of stuff on social media, and it's like, he's kind of been posting things here and there and dropping hints, especially on TV here and there, that this broken gimmick was going to happen. And now, I mean, he's just flooding social media with the broken gimmick. So I'm really looking forward to watching Raw tomorrow night to see what his character, not only, maybe he starts dressing different, starts acting different, and how much is he going to implement the Woken character compared to the Team Extreme Matt Hardy? It's going to be interesting to see how those two gimmicks intertwine and how much they use one and the other.
Right, and we learned from the Wrestling Spotlight that essentially Anthem, who owns TNA Impact, they've given up on the whole broken gimmick. So apparently in January, Matt Hardy claims full ownership of the broken gimmick.
Hell yeah.
Like they have nothing to do with it. So I'm wondering if they're just waiting till January to call it broken.
Maybe so, but right now they're going with Woken, and honestly, I'm not crazy about Woken, but it sounds like broken, so I'll give them that. And it's cool, especially, the young kids nowadays, they have the term stay woke. So I guess in a way it kind of works, but I'm hoping they eventually go to just calling it broken.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, that is the term that got the gimmick to where it is today. So Matt Hardy going Woken, that's something that's been going on at least last week after he lost to Bray Wyatt. Just kept doing the delete thing in the ring, sitting in the ring corner after the loss. So that is interesting as well. And also another big development on the Raw brand, we have a new Intercontinental Champion. Roman Reigns defeated The Miz, and we now know why that was to happen, because The Miz is now filming the Marine 6. So, if you have The Miz drop the Intercontinental Championship, you might as well drop it to Roman Reigns, who right now is, you're trying to make him your top guy on Raw, and with the Universal title around Brock's waist, who's not there all the time. Put the Intercontinental title on Roman Reigns, because, let's face it, while it meant something with The Miz, Roman, he came out and said, I'm going to be a fighting champion, and he defended it against Elias last week and won. So I'm hoping maybe every week, I'm not saying it's going to be like the U.S. Open Challenge was, but maybe Roman comes out every week and says, I'm ready to defend this title. Who wants to come out and get some? So that would be pretty cool. Yeah,
and we talked last podcast about the Shield getting reunited to help Roman get over. It may be working because the picture that WWE had, obviously it's a really cool picture. Roman with the strap on his shoulder and his tat and everything. That was the most liked picture they've ever had on their Instagram page.
Wow.
Had over 500,000 likes.
Yeah, having the Shield reunite was definitely the right move as far as getting Roman over, because let's face it, Roman as a singles competitor was not over, but Roman with the Shield, everybody loves it. Now, I don't understand the logic of it, and it's all about storytelling, because I was listening to the thing the Big Show was talking about earlier this week on Reddit, and he was kind of just like bashing WWE Creative. Like, it's all about telling a story, and the story is now you had the Shield that came in and dominated. They broke up. Now they're back together, and it's really a cool story, kind of like a reunion type thing. It started with Dean and Seth getting back together, because let's face it, like Dean and Roman were cool. Seth and Roman were cool. Dean and Seth, it took them a little while to kind of get back on the right terms, and it took Seth, basically earning the trust of Ambrose back, and they won the tag team titles, of course, and now the whole band is back together, which is really, really awesome. My only concern is that right now they were having Roman win the Intercontinental title. They're going to try and have Roman go do his own thing and have Seth and Dean go do their own thing, but Seth and Dean helped Roman win the Intercontinental title, and they all celebrated in the ring together, like with as the Shield. So that was really cool to see Roman win one of the titles he's yet to win in WWE, and so now he's a Grand Slam champion. And congrats to Roman Reigns, well deserved in my opinion.
Yeah, most definitely. Another thing about Survivor Series, I was thinking, I'm so glad that Enzo retained, because I can't wait to see Pete Dunne lay him out, and then have the UK belt around his waist, the 205 around his shoulder,
or hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah. I can't wait.
That's a new way to hold the title. I don't think I've ever seen that. The guy holding the strap from his mouth. And I like it. It's really creative. I think it fits with Pete Dunne's character, and I'm really anxious to see what Pete Dunne can do. So is he? I haven't really been paying that much attention the last couple of weeks, but is he a member of 205 Live now? Or?
I think he is. Yeah.
So he's going to be. So that'd be cool to see him and Enzo. Maybe a clash. Well, no, that's not. Won't be a clash of champions, but we'll see him and Enzo duke it out. Now I don't. Yeah. How's he going to defend the UK title though? That's what I'm.
That's interesting.
That's going to be interesting. Is he only going to defend it against maybe people from the UK, or
no, because he defended it against Gordano.
Oh, okay, so well, there you go, there you have it. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that title belt as well. It's something that's a little new flavor to WWE, so that'll be interesting as well. But that's really the main things that we've been hitting on from Raw the past couple of weeks. The big things, obviously Triple H, Kurt Angle, the feud there, and also Triple H with Strowman, which, like I said, we're going to talk about that in the rumor mill. You have Matt Hardy going Woken, and then you have Roman Reigns winning the Intercontinental Championship. So a lot of things going on Raw there. But now, let's jump over to SmackDown. Of course, SmackDown obviously losing the 5-on-5 match and losing overall at Survivor Series, but you still got AJ Styles as your WWE champion, and right now they're building up to Clash of Champions. Let's see, I'm gonna actually try to find the updated card here. Here it is, right here. So the updated card for Clash of Champions, which will take place December 17th, which is 2 weeks from now, at the TD Garden in Boston. Right now, you have AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal, singles match for the WWE Championship. Turns out, because I think the India tour is getting ready to happen, I think maybe this week, and so Jinder's not going to be the champion, it looks like, for the India tour, but he will be taking on Triple H, so I'm sure some video will come out of that. Hopefully, I'm hoping, Jinder being in the ring with Triple H maybe make him a little bit better and put on a good show at Clash of Champions there for the WWE Championship. Triple threat match, Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. Triple threat for the WWE United States Championship. The Usos will be taking on, another triple threat tag team match for the tag team championships. The Usos defending against the New Day and also Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Then you have the SmackDown Women's Championship, Charlotte versus Natalya. So those are the 4 matches right there. I'm assuming there's going to be more because you can't just have, obviously, 4 matches. But even though those are the only 4 titles on SmackDown right now, and it is the Clash of Champions. So this is one of those pay-per-views, I think, that should be both a Raw and a SmackDown event. So
yeah, exactly.
Because it's Clash of Champions. You only have 4 title belts. I mean, you can only have 4 matches. Whereas if you throw the cruiserweights in there, you throw and all the other Raw belts in there, you have 4 other matches, 8 matches. Now, granted, that 8 matches is a lot for a little 3-hour pay-per-view like that. But put one on the pre-show, and I think you're set. But hopefully they add a couple of more matches here on the SmackDown brand. Maybe I'd say they add 2 more, have 6 matches, and you have a nice little pay-per-view there, because obviously around the corner you have the Royal Rumble, and then after that it's WrestleMania season, so things are only going to get bigger after Clash of Champions. So that's really what's going on SmackDown, kind of since Survivor Series. They're just building up to Clash of Champions. So that's what's going on in the SmackDown area. Anything you got on SmackDown?
Yeah, 2 things. We have the video of Natalya training Ronda Rousey on our Facebook page.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then also with AJ Styles, I want to give a big shout out to Bryce and Casey from the Pro Wrestling Roundabout podcast. Had the great honor of being on their first selection committee for their annual Roundy Honors. Mm-hmm. And of course, AJ Styles won WWE Superstar of the Year.
Rightfully so. He would have been my vote too. So AJ Styles, and it's funny. I just you talk about AJ Styles. Something I want to add into the rumor mill. I'm going to write it down though. I'm not going to say it right now. But there's some rumors about AJ Styles that I want to talk about as well. So we basically went over Raw and SmackDown. Really, what's happened. We'll obviously dive more into that next week, because as we get closer to Clash of Champions, and basically Raw right now building up to the Royal Rumble, I guess in a way. But I don't think they're going to really start mentioning the Royal Rumble obviously until after Clash of Champions. Maybe not even until after Christmas, because this is a weird time in wrestling. You have Clash of Champions coming up. Nothing really for Raw, because think about it. Raw, as far as I know, they're only going to have, since Survivor Series, there's no pay-per-view from Survivor Series to the Royal Rumble. So it'll be interesting to see. I guess that's why they have Roman defending the Intercontinental title every week and stuff like that.
Right. And while we're on Survivor Series and Clash of Champions, let's talk about the scorecards real quick, because a lot of people that listen to our podcast that we released on the Sunday, we released it on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Before Survivor Series, they kind of listened to it late. So they learned about the scorecards a little bit too late to play with us, and they're like, oh man, when are you guys going to do it again? That sounded like it was so fun. So let's talk about the scorecards a little bit. We'll talk about our scores, and also what we're going to do for Clash of Champions.
Absolutely, yeah. The scorecards, you can find them if you got to go on Twitter, because Twitter is where you're going to find them, at PWS Scorecards. Go look up PWS Scorecards. They always have the scorecards downloadable the Wednesday prior to the pay-per-view event. So in this case, for Clash of Champions, they're going to have them. And Clash of Champions is on the 17th. So if I do the math here real quick, 17, 16, 15, 14. On the 13th, they're going to, around noontime, maybe sometime in the afternoon, they're going to have them available. And we're going to go ahead and say it now. We're going to do the scorecards for Clash of Champions. So be on the lookout. If you don't have a Twitter, go get a Twitter. Follow MarkOutMania, and then follow PWS Scorecards. Go download them. We're going to also have links on our Twitter page when they do release them. We're going to retweet it and all that stuff. Go download it. Play along with us, because it's really fun. Yep. It makes the pay-per-views that much better. And, we're going to talk about our scores. I don't know if I want to talk about my score, because, man, my score was so terrible from Survivor Series.
It's all good, man.
But, yeah, you have the scores. Talk about the scores and how we did.
Right. Coming in first, Brink scored 77.
77. Yeah, Brink always does really good because he, I guess an opposite of me, I just, especially for a Survivor Series, like one of the big four pay-per-views, I just kind of get crazy with what I think is going to happen, because I just think anything can happen. I just get crazy. So didn't do so hot with Brink. He does really well, and then you weren't far behind him.
No. I scored a 64.
64.
And I tell you what, I had a blast with that podcast. That was really fun. So I'm really looking forward to our score sheets for Clash of Champions.
Yeah, so we'll have we'll have next week's podcast, which is kind of be a normal podcast with our special guest that you mentioned at the end of the show.
Yes.
Then the week after that, it'll be the Clash of Champions, basically the preview, and that's when we'll do the scorecard. So in 2 weeks, in 2 episodes, this is episode 4, episode 5, episode 6 is when we'll do the scorecard. So, whenever you do plan on listening to that particular thing, hey, download the scorecards, and you can basically fill them out along with us, because that's what the show's going to be. We're going to be filling out the scorecards, and, like I said, you can fill them out at home along with us while listening to the podcast.
Right. And then rounding out the Markout Mania team, Patrick with a 52.
Yeah, big 52. Like I said, I'm going to try. I swear I'm going to do better this time. I'm going to be a little more rational with my decisions. But man, those things are so fun, because you really and truly don't know what's going to happen. And it's not really that what I think is going to happen is what I want to happen. So maybe I play a little bit of a bias in something like that. Like I picked AJ to beat Brock. Why should I have done that? Come on now. Because I love AJ Styles, and I want AJ Styles to win every match, and he needs to be champion for the next 1,200 days. So that's just what I think. But yeah, play along with us. Download it at PWS Scorecards, and also follow MarkOutMania on Twitter as well, because we just retweet what they retweet as well. And I want to show them some love too, because what they're doing over there at PWS Scorecards is really cool, man. I found out about it earlier this year, and I said, dude, that is the absolute coolest idea, because let's face it, you watch the pay-per-views and they're cool, but it's so much more fun, especially when you're playing as a group, and you have these scorecards, and you're kind of competing with everybody, and it's, we're competing with the fans are competing with us. It's really cool. Download the scorecards. December 13th is when the Clash of Champions one will be available. Download it, and when you listen to episode 6 in a couple of weeks, fill it out along with us.
You know what? Let's book them on a show.
That would be
as
cool.
a guest.
Yeah, let's try to.
Yeah, reach out to them on Twitter.
Okay.
And let's see if we can make that happen. Because they're from Vegas. So I'm pretty sure they have some cool stories as well.
Yeah, that would be really cool. So I will reach out to them on Twitter and see if they would want to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe in between, maybe after Clash of Champions, we can talk about. Because what I want to do is, like right now, we're doing the scorecards, and we'll finish it out for this year. But when we get to the Royal Rumble, the first pay-per-view of the year, I want to start on a fresh scale and keep track of as the year goes on, and basically have an entire year standings, and maybe they do something like that. So we can I'll hit them up on Twitter after this, and we'll see if we can maybe get one of their representatives on the show with us.
Heck yeah.
So all right, we talked about SmackDown and Raw since Survivor Series. Let's dive into New Japan, because right now New Japan, they have the World Tag League going on, and obviously, for those of you who are unfamiliar with World Tag League, there's Block A and there's Block B, and it's a giant round-robin deal is what they do. All the tag teams face each other, and basically, at the end of the round-robin, you got the winner of Block A, you have the winner of Block B. Those two teams face each other, and that is your World Tag League champions, and that will come to a head on December the 11th, which is 8 days from now. So we'll have basically a lot more on that, obviously, next week. But the current standings, at least from what I can find, it was a little bit tough to kind of find the updated standings because of the way they do it. But in the A block, you have Death Juice, who is sitting atop with a 3-1 win-loss record, 6 total points. Then you have a bunch of guys tied for second right now, Goto and Yoshihashi, and I'm sure anybody that knows New Japan names, especially Brinkman's about to laugh after I butcher some of these names.
No,
but
you're doing great.
Sonata and Evil, Suzuki and Aizuka, something like that. Tenkozi, Bullet Club, which is Paige and Takahashi, and also has Death Juice written again at 4 points. So I don't know how accurate these things are, but Brink does a good job of keeping up on this. So go to MarkOutMania.com, check out Brink's. I think he did a midway thing. A midway article on New Japan World Tag League. He's doing a good job of keeping up with that. Also follow him on Twitter at Rainmaker Konga. That's Rainmaker Konga. Go follow him. He's doing a good job. He's really paying attention to what's going on in New Japan World Tag League. And then you have Naka, Nishi, and Nagata. 2 points, 1-3 record there. The B block, the Killer Elite Squad, is leading with 6 points. Then you have Gorillas of Destiny, Best Friends, Cobb and Eglin, War Machine tied with 4 points, but all at 2-1 records. And then you have Chaos, which is Ishii and Yano, a 1-2 record, 2 points there. And then Maccabee and Hanari, also Finley and Kitamura, 0-3 with 0 points there. So right now, it looks like Death Juice leading Block A, Killer Elite Squad leading Block B. So that is what the current standings are. And obviously, this is an ongoing thing that will come to a head in 8 days. And we'll have, obviously, more on that coming up next week. So now that we talked about all of that, I think it's time to jump into the rumor mill.
You know,
everybody's favorite segment, because hey, it's my favorite segment because it's one of those things. You talk about the rumors, the cool things that could be happening, but you don't know for sure, and it's the anticipation of what might happen. So let's go ahead and start. You talk about what you got in your rumor mill.
Okay, my first rumor: Cody Rhodes versus Daniel Bryan.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So, of course, you can check out this link on our Facebook page to search MarkOutMania. So, Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks are going to be putting on an event in a 10,000-seat theater.
Self-financed, too.
Yes, self-financed. And they're going to use ROH talent. So, it's going to be a really good show. But Cody Rhodes says he wants the main event for the ROH World Title to be himself against Daniel Bryan.
Holy smokes.
Obviously, that would break the internet.
Oh, yeah.
This would be, I think, even bigger than Omega and Jericho. Can I say that? Do you agree?
Well, the match itself, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Of the heat that WWE has with Cody Rhodes right now, and then one of their major stars possibly becoming a free agent and fighting him?
I would disagree with you on the premises that this match would take place obviously at a 10,000-seat, self-financed, Cody Rhodes Young Bucks deal, whereas Omega and Jericho is going to take place where arguably Omega is very well considered the best wrestler in the world right now, up there with AJ in my opinion. And then you have Chris Jericho, who, let's face it, I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time, Chris Jericho, whereas Cody Rhodes, his father, I mean, I'm not saying Cody's bad, but obviously, his father was one of the all-time greats.
Son of a plumber.
Yeah, Cody is very talented. Daniel Bryan, one of the all-time greats as far as on the indie scene goes. In WWE, I wouldn't say he's one of the all-time greats in WWE just because he's really his time at the top was so short-lived. And, it's another thing I'm going to talk about in the rumor mill coming up, maybe his future in WWE. But as far as those two matches, in my opinion, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 of just epicness, Omega Jericho's a 10, Cody Rhodes and Daniel Bryan would be about an 8. So
yeah, this is why I think it's more epic. WWE has given the blessings to Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, fine. We agree that this is a huge match and it will do great things for WWE. And we respect what's going on in New Japan.
Yep.
On the verse, they can't stand ROH. And it's because of the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with the cease and desist, what they're doing, with what they think WWE has trademarked, how they feel the Young Bucks are infringing, how the Young Bucks are just getting crazy internet love off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Supposedly, they sold over 400,000 shirts at Hot Topic, the hottest selling wrestling shirt right now. And also the fact that, okay, if you're Daniel Bryan, you want to wrestle.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We've seen some reports, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, from a podcast that Bree was on, that you're seeing doctors all across the world. You want to work again, right? Is the WWE going to give you that chance? Well, they haven't given it to you before, so you think, okay, when my contract's up, I'll pull a Jericho thing. I'll do the free agent thing. I'll go have a big Grand Slam match that's going to break the internet with a man that you took his last name away. Mm-hmm. He can't use it. You got tons of heat with him and his partners, the Young Bucks that are financing this event. If it happened, could Daniel Bryan go back to the WWE, you think? Because Daniel Bryan is rabidly over with the WWE fans.
Oh, yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is that, of course, and this is, I might as well say it now, this is the rumor mill. Daniel Bryan is doing everything in his power to get back into a WWE ring. He wants to wrestle for WWE. Obviously, WWE medical staff doesn't want to clear him, but Brie Bella, I think on the podcast, she was on Lillian Garcia's podcast, which Lillian Garcia has a new podcast. Her first episode, I believe, had Brie Bella on it, and this was not too long ago. This might have been the past couple of weeks. She said that she believes the WWE medical staff could clear Daniel Bryan sooner than later, and hopefully so, because let's face it, I mean, while Daniel Bryan, no matter where he went, whether it's Ring of Honor, New Japan, or stayed in WWE, he's going to perform just brilliantly. And I would, as a WWE fan, I would like to see him do it in WWE because there's so much, potential as to. Obviously, you have Kurt Angle, the Raw general manager, wrestling and could wrestle Triple H at WrestleMania. You could have Daniel Bryan, the general manager, wrestle. What looks like right now, there's some sort of. It seems like they're kind of building some tension between him and Shane McMahon. And, Shane McMahon put on one of the better matches of the year against AJ Styles at WrestleMania. I would love to see what a Daniel Bryan versus a Shane McMahon maybe at not Survivor Series, at WrestleMania could be like. So maybe they clear Daniel Bryan, and if they don't, and Daniel Bryan's contract is expired, hey, if I'm Daniel Bryan, I definitely see him saying, adios, WWE. I'm going to hang out with Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. I'm going to main event their little event, 10,000-seater, because I guarantee you, Daniel Bryan would much rather main event a 10,000-seat event in the ring rather than be the general manager of SmackDown or whatever the case may be for the biggest wrestling organization in the world. So I think WWE, if you want to keep Daniel Bryan, you better clear him, and you better clear him fast, because obviously all these doctors around the world are saying he's fine, and I think it's the whole lawsuit thing with the concussions they got, and they don't want to add to that. And I don't know, I guess it's a touchy subject in the locker room about head, concussions and all that stuff, but hey, if Daniel Bryan, then I think there's ways that if he gets hurt and you allow him to wrestle, it won't be on you. There's some kind of clause I'm sure you can put in a contract that you can have some lawyers or whatever sign and have Daniel's lawyer, whatever the case may be. I know they can get it done. So just clear him, because if you clear him, that would be the biggest move they have done all year long, and that would make for some kind of epic WrestleMania storyline down the road as Daniel Bryan, the SmackDown general manager, maybe going up against a Shane McMahon, or maybe going up against The Miz, because I think I saw a thing that Daniel Bryan would love to. That would be an awesome WrestleMania match, Daniel Bryan and The Miz. So the possibilities are there, the potential's there. All they got to do is just pull the trigger, and they can pull the trigger whenever they see fit.
But you didn't answer my question.
Oh, okay.
If he becomes a free agent, he does the Cody Rhodes thing, do you think he could ever come back to WWE after that?
I think he could, because in this business, like they say never. I think he could. Will he? Not. It depends, because
he would be aligning himself with the arch enemies of Vincent K. McMahon.
Well, that depends, because, obviously when Daniel Bryan did debut with the Nexus back in 2010. He did the little choke thing on Justin Roberts, and I mean, immediately they let him go after that, because of the whole Chris Benoit thing and all that. And I think it was three months later he was back on WWE television. Now, granted, what he would do here is probably much worse, at least in the eyes of a Vince McMahon, than choking out Justin Roberts. I guess in the heat of the moment, it was a big angle at the time, and doing that on TV. But if he goes and does that, especially and it depends on how everything goes about. Like, if Daniel Bryan ends on bad terms, goes over there, does this, and becomes successful, I don't even think, even if they wanted Daniel Bryan to come back, he'd probably say, hell no, because you guys are not going to clear me. So you guys can eat a you-know-what, and if I'm Daniel Bryan and you're not clearing me, but every other doctor on planet Earth is clearing me, that's what I would do. I would go to this 10,000 seat thing. That's going to be a hit, especially if Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks are running. It's going to be a hit. And if you have Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes, these two guys know how to wrestle. Yeah. It's going to be a hit, and then that could lead Daniel Bryan going to Ring of Honor or maybe even New Japan Pro Wrestling. Obviously, he'd be in both because they have a working relationship. So as far as him coming back to WWE, it all depends on if they clear him and allow him to wrestle. I think he stays with WWE. I don't even think he ever leaves. Yeah. But if they don't clear him and his contract expires and there's no signs of them clearing him, he's gone. He's going to wrestle Cody Rhodes at this event. He's not coming back. I don't think he's coming back unless they call him and say, hey, look, we're going to clear you. We're going to give you this amount of money. We want you to be our guy. That's the only way he comes back. But even then, I don't even know if WWE would do that, especially after Daniel Bryan would go do the thing with Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks.
Right. And real quick, before we get to my number 2, we have a video on our Facebook page, search Mark Out Media, of Cody Rhodes talking about his life after WWE, talking about how he's making more money now, how he seems like a really cool cat, by the way, but how he comes up with these gimmicks to essentially make fun of the fans, whether it was putting paper bags over their heads or now that he's in the Ring of Honor, the champion gets an actual ring, and now he has the fans kissing his ring. And he's like, I come up with all these gimmicks to make fun of people and to burn people, but they love it. And he was like, it's so over. I can't believe it. All right, so here's my number 2 rumor mill, and we'll just touch really quick on this because we know what the outcome's going to be on this one. CM Punk, Phil Brooks, is supposedly in talks with Dana White for his second UFC fight. Phil, give it up, dude. Okay? Some no-name cat, I can't even remember his name, came off the street and kicked the crap out of you, dude. You didn't even stand a chance, okay? And you knew what you were getting into, right? You knew you had to come fight. And that's the exact opposite of what you did. A second fight? I don't know why Dana would do it. Obviously, your name recognition is still there, and people will still do a pay-per-view buy because they want to see you get beat up and make fun of you. Do you want to be the laughingstock, or do you want to be the greatest wrestler ever? Come back home, Phil.
Yeah, because I saw, I mean, obviously anybody that saw that fight, saw the CM Punk after the fight, I mean, his ear
he was all blown up.
He was all blown up, and I mean, now this is just me, but obviously, you know, CM Punk didn't, his time with the company didn't end on good terms, but let's face it, like, despite everything that happened in WWE, do you want to, you know, do something where you're getting your face kicked in and you're not the hottest thing, or do you want to go to come back to wrestling where you could be the hottest thing and you're not having your ear swell up every time you step into the octagon, I mean, or into the ring in this matter. So I'm on record as saying CM Punk will never wrestle again, I don't think, but I'm always hopeful that there is that possibility. But if CM Punk wrestles again, it won't be for WWE. So I would love to see CM Punk maybe go to Ring of Honor or New Japan Pro Wrestling. But as far as him wrestling in WWE, I think he seems like a man that, you know, I told him I was done, and he seems like a man that he's going to stick to his guns. So I don't know what it's going to take for him to stop doing mixed martial arts, maybe a couple more beatdowns. I don't know. But, I mean, if you start 0-5 or something like that, come on now. Let's get real. You tried it. You gave it your all. It didn't work out. You gave wrestling a try. It obviously worked out to a certain extent, but there's other ways. You know, you can go wrestle for these. I mean, look, if you wrestle for New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor, I would rather see CM Punk do that than, you know, rather wrestle for another company that's not named WWE rather than have to watch CM Punk just get beat up in the octagon all the time. So hopefully, you know, I mean, I'm sure he'll get his second match. And because I feel like he's doing everything right. You know, he showed up, he fought, and even though he got his butt kicked, you know, he's not, you know, he's probably on Dana's good side. He's not doing anything to ruffle Dana's feathers or anything. So he's going to get the second match. I don't think it will be on as big of a stage as a UFC pay-per-view.
Might be a prelim fight.
Or maybe like a UFC on Fox kind of thing, you know, something like that, which would be cool, you know. And Mickey Gall,
yes,
Mickey Gall
that's good.
is the he's going to be a really good fighter. He's an up and coming fighter, and he's going to be really, really good. He's not up there yet, but he's getting there. So Mickey Gall is a name we're going to hear about, I think, a lot, probably in the next 2-3 years. So
yeah.
But CM Punk in the Octagon, I'm not a fan.
Here's my last thought. As we broke on our Facebook page with a picture of Bayley and AJ Lee is pregnant. So they're having a little kiddo, right? You have earned the right, CM Punk, to be a part-time performer in WWE. Stop chasing this dumb dream. You don't have a warrior spirit. You may be great at parkour. You may be great at wrestling, but you don't have a warrior spirit. Mm-hmm. And you're going to lose this next fight, and you're going to get beat down. And if I was Dana White, I would have an incentive-laden pay package where if you came out and you rolled another egg, I'm not paying you hardly anything. I'm paying you $1,000 to come fight in my promotion. Mm-hmm. If you perform well and you have, you go into the second round, you get a second round bonus. If you knock them down, you get a bonus. If you actually do a takedown, you get a bonus.
Yeah.
But come on, man. It's not working for you. It never will work for you. Part-time is the way to go. Ask Brock Lesnar.
Absolutely. Brock Lesnar, the highest paid WWE superstar. Also, I believe, as of at least last year, I don't know what the salaries are for this year, but I think in 2016, he was making close to $3 million a year doing half the work.
Yeah.
So, like you said, ask Brock Lesnar. So, you got anything else in your rumor mill?
Nope.
All right, so my rumor mill, looking ahead really to Royal Rumble, a couple of things. We've talked about Triple H and Strowman. Looks like something's going to happen there. The rumor is they're going to fight at the Royal Rumble, one-on-one match, so that'll be interesting there because you think Braun Strowman, and he could be in the Royal Rumble match as well, and Triple H as well, too. I don't know. They could both be in the Rumble match. But right now, it looks like the plan is to have Triple H fight Braun Strowman at the Royal Rumble. It'll be interesting to see how they transition from that going into Triple H angle at WrestleMania, because I think that's the plan right now. And speaking of the Royal Rumble, there is a rumor this year, and they've been kind of talking about it for a while now. All these new girls like Sonya Deville, is it Mandy Rose? Mm-hmm. Who are the other ones? They had a couple of other ones. Ruby Riott. They're all
Liv Morgan.
So and all these women are coming up from NXT, and Paige is back now. And then so you have all these women, and what are you going to do with all these women at the Royal Rumble? Well, have a women's Royal Rumble match, the first one ever, if it were to take place, and that is the rumors. Now, the interesting thing is, do they have 30 women? I don't know if they're going to do 30. Maybe they do 20 or 15. I'm thinking the magic number is 15 or 20. They're going to do a 15 or 20 woman Royal Rumble match if they pull the trigger on it, and I think they should, because, look, you have all these women, and I think it would be a great time. And you can also bring some more in from NXT. You do it in the main roster, the men Royal Rumble. You bring guys up from NXT while they're still in that promotion. You can bring women up from NXT as well, and maybe bring back some. You can even do a 30-woman Royal. Now that I'm thinking about it, you can bring back like Lita, who's obviously works for the company. Or does she still work for the company? Or did she get released?
I don't know. I just saw a story about some heat that real heat that she has with somebody in the back, a girl, another superstar. So I think she still works with them.
So if that's the case, if you have these older women like Lita, surprise if you Trish. Oh man, Trish came back, son. Let me tell you. But look, you could have these surprise entrants from NXT and old women wrestlers who are still kind of around just to come. Hey, look, we want to do a one-off appearance, Women's Royal Rumble, first one ever. I mean, I think it would be appropriate to have women like even like maybe a Beth Phoenix come back, maybe like you said, Trish Stratus, Alita, or I'm trying to think of some other women who are kind of still around that are just sitting around doing nothing. Maybe a Tori Wilson. Or, well, I don't know if Tori Wilson was much of a wrestler. She was just more.
Bring her back.
Bring her back. I want to see that on TV. So yeah, the possibilities are there for a women's Royal Rumble, and like I said, I think, in my opinion, my gut, I think the numbers would be 15 or 20. I just don't think they're going to really pull the trigger on bringing back old superstars. More so bring some up from NXT, because obviously I think at the Royal Rumble you'll have the Raw Women's title on the line and maybe the SmackDown Women's title on the line as well. So you have 4 women right there, 2 in each match, obviously, that are not going to be in this Royal Rumble. Or, it's the WWE. They can do it however they want. But a 15 or 20 Women Royal Rumble, I think, would be really cool, really something new, something fresh, and it really could be a hit because I'm telling you, in my opinion, the women are getting so much better at the wrestling that, I mean, this would be a great way to showcase some women who are not really being shown off on WWE television on a weekly basis. It's a good platform to show them off and also bring some new talent up from NXT.
Yeah, maybe that's where Rousey makes her debut as the last girl.
I wasn't even thinking of that. So that right there would be absolutely money.
Right.
If you have
the music hits, you have no idea who it is because you've never heard this music before. Titantron's black, and then all of a sudden, Rousey.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Can you about them? Philadelphia would go crazy when that happens.
Yeah,
so,
and then, of course,
that happens.
Peyton Royce. Man, you bring her up for that because she's amazing.
Ember Moon.
Ember Moon.
Yeah.
Sairi.
Oh, dude.
What's her name? Sairi. The new girl that came over from Japan, I think.
I can't remember the name.
Is it Sairi Kane or something like that?
It might be, honestly. I couldn't tell you.
The Pirate Princess, she's really good, man.
Yeah, so you have all these possibilities, and I hope WWE pulls the trigger. It's something I'm really excited about, honestly, if they have a Women's Royal Rumble match. Like I said, it's new, it's fresh, and it's a great idea. So that's something in my rumor mill there. Also, the last thing in my rumor mill, a lot of people have been talking about AJ Styles retiring.
No!
Maybe after WrestleMania 34.
No,
yeah, that's what I was saying. Please no. Well, AJ Styles confirmed that he is not going to retire
God bless
after WrestleMania 34. I did see that on Reddit. So AJ Styles will not retire. Let's see, yeah. AJ Styles denies that he will retire after he tweeted out, just put wrong. So he was replying to a tweet like that. So that was a lot of rumors going around about AJ Styles retiring fairly soon.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be the case. And that wraps up my my rumor mill.
I saw an interview with him. He said his wife still hates the traveling. Obviously, she knew what she was getting into, but she still hasn't come to the point where she's okay with it. Because obviously he has gone from home a lot. I bet you he's home now more since he's with WWE instead of, getting extra bookings and indies and, stuff like that. And, of course, they got a lot of kids. How many do they have? Like 7?
I don't know.
Like gerbils they are.
As far as his personal life, I know I've seen his wife, but I don't know how many kids he has.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 or 7.
Oh, damn, he's a fertile dude, man.
He's got them all tattooed, and that's a big tattoo on
I know.
on the side.
I'm aware of his tattoo. I see like AJ and then like some little words up below that. I never knew I never really got in depth as to what the tattoo like meant or what it was or anything. But 7 kids, man, fertile dude.
He's getting it. All right, so let's go to Cheap Heat.
Correct. So what you got in your Cheap Heat?
I want to talk about Crabtree and Talib because this is WWE material right here. Book these dudes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, if D'Angelo Williams can do it, why not these two guys?
Exactly. The one thing that I found interesting was, and of course, I don't know anything about street cred or stuff like that because I grew up on the mean streets of Moss Bluff, Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
But I was listening to Jim Rome, and a caller called in, and he said the snatching of a chain in the street means that someone is proclaiming total domination over you. Usually it happens at the end of a beatdown when you're laying in a pool of your own pee and your own blood, and the dude snatches your chain to say, I own you, bro. Right? So obviously with the NFL not stepping in and doing anything to Talib the first time, Crabtree had to do something.
Yeah.
Because on the street, he was disrespected. He was no longer a man. He had to show he was a man. Now, it came out, he taped he taped his chain to his chest on this last game because he knew Talib was going to go for it again. Now, they did say that Crabtree was kind of the aggressor on this one because the play before, he punched Chris Harris.
Yeah.
And then the play after is when him and Talib got into it. It was interesting to see that he snatched the chain again, right? So obviously they're going to play each other again.
Oh, yeah.
Will Talib go for the hat trick and rip it off again?
My goodness.
Do you wear a chain again?
How can you let that man take your chain 3 times? My grandmama give me that chain, man.
So, I mean, this is epic stuff right here. So I just wanted to cover that real quick. And then also my last one is... I got 2 more. I'll hit on them real quick.
Okay.
Mojo Rawley turning heel. I think this is the ultimate demise of both of these wrestlers. I think this is a move from WWE to ultimately cut both of these wrestlers because I don't think they can survive alone in singles competitions. And obviously WWE is thinning the herd. We'll talk about another release here in a minute from you. But I can only see doomsday in the future for these two guys.
Yep.
I don't see them staying on the roster much longer.
It's a shame, too, because I feel like them as a tag team, it's somewhat entertaining. I actually somewhat enjoy them. I watched them. They had a house show earlier this year in Lake Charles, and they weren't as a tag team, but Mojo Rawley came out. And I tell you what, this dude was smooth with the ladies because I was sitting in the third row. I was sitting in the third row of this house show, and they had these 3 good-looking women sitting in front of us. I'm like, man, I didn't think good-looking women got these good of seats to come watch a WWE house show. And Mojo spotted them out. And I think after the Mojo match, one of the WWE officials kind of came up to him and was like, hey, y'all come, back here. I think they went backstage, so Mojo might have had him a little action with 3 women back there, for all I know. So I was instantly a Mojo fan after that. But them together, I don't know.
Worked.
It worked, and turning them, it's like Enzo and Cass. They worked, turned them heel. Cass got hurt. Enzo's almost unbearable now, but now you have Mojo and Zack Ryder. Of course, Mojo still turning heel. A lot of people talking about, I hope Mojo just comes out and just becomes this giant, I can't even say the word that they used, but starts with a D and just be that guy where he's wearing a Tom Brady jersey, you got a hat backwards, yo man, what's up? You don't want none of this. And so I don't know, it'd be cool to see what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do this heel Mojo, because I don't think Mojo's ever been heel. Has he ever been heel? I don't think so. I don't think he's ever been heel. He may have for a very short time, but this is gonna be interesting to see how this, and like you said, you think it's going to be ultimately lead to their demise. Yeah. I hope not, because Ryder has always been one of those guys that gets love on the internet, but just doesn't get no love on TV. And Mojo's another guy that always had some potential, but I don't think he's ever quite lived up to it. So it'll be interesting to see how they obviously go do that. So is that your...
I got one more.
Go ahead.
If you're following us on Facebook, you saw that Ric Flair was going to be in a rap video. We posted the video when it came out. It's this rap artist named Bad Bunny. Never heard of this dude. Obviously, Ric Flair's doing his thing. Ric Flair's great. Bad Bunny, you suck. This is the worst rap song I've heard in my life. I can't understand a word this guy's saying. I hope he's from another country and he's actually singing in another language. Because if he's not, it's just crap, man. I mean, obviously, Flair got paid because we also posted on our Facebook page at signings, he's making either $15,000 to $20,000 to show up.
Yep.
No telling how much he makes when people actually sign stuff. So, obviously, he got paid to do this. More power to him. Terrible song. Absolutely garbage.
Yeah, a lot of the rap.
Trash and Bad Bunny.
Yeah, well, I never heard of Bad Bunny, so apparently he's got to be some sort of garbage. But, when you get I give him credit for getting the Nature Boy in his music video, but other than that, I mean, I didn't listen to it. I did hear something about Ric Flair being in a music video, but I mean, I don't honestly, I personally don't care to see Ric Flair in a music video unless he's cutting a promo.
Yeah,
but
he woos a few times.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could go to on the WWE Network and watch him woo all day long. So. Bad Bunny, like you said, I've never heard of him. I've never listened to him, but from what you're telling me, I don't want to hear of him, and I don't want to listen to him. So.
Well, I would recommend going to our Facebook page and just watch it without any sound. Mm-hmm. Just watch it play, and then just move on from there.
Yep. That's
don't listen to it.
So that's your cheap heat.
Yes.
My cheap heat, mostly the same of what you got, except my main thing, I'm just going to touch on that real quick, is Jim Johnston getting released from WWE, longtime music composer for WWE. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, WWE would come out with these CDs with all the theme songs and stuff.
Man, I would get every one of them.
And always had Jim Johnston's name on it, and he's created a lot of iconic theme songs for WWE, and I think he's been around since the 80s, so he's been with the company for a very, very long time. He, like I said, there's nothing more to say. He's created a lot of the great theme songs, like Stone Cold, Triple H before Motorhead, The Rock's old theme songs, like The Godfather, I think the New Age Outlaws, DX's theme song, all that stuff. I don't know if it was, DX's theme song was by an actual band, maybe. I'm not sure. But still, there was a lot of great music and a lot of all the promo music that you hear during promos before matches and stuff, all was Jim Johnston. And now they have it as another group, like CFO or something like that, that has been making all the theme songs and stuff since about 2013. So, like you were saying before we started recording, maybe he's just been sitting around getting a paycheck. So, but nonetheless, I was very sad to hear that news because growing up, I listened, the guys that I watched growing up, and that's one of my favorite things about wrestling, the theme music. The theme music is like just kind of is what brings professional wrestling somewhat over the top. The themes, the entrances, and stuff like that. It's all part of pro wrestling, and Jim Johnston was a very, very big part of creating a lot of these great theme songs and entrances back in the, since the 80s, obviously. So he's gone now, and well, that's all I got to say about that. So it sucks, but, and CFO's doing a pretty good job, but some tough shoes to fill with Jim Johnston, certainly.
Oh, most definitely. I wonder what he's going to do if he's going to start like his own production company, or since he's kind of, maybe this is like, hey, I was looking to retire anyway.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and I don't know, is he going to get paid royalties from this music, or
he would have to if he's a songwriter?
I would think so. Maybe he's still going to be making some money.
Composer.
So maybe he'll still be making a little bit of money on the side from some of these songs.
That's a good point.
So who knows?
He's going to get that mailbox money.
But either way, if he wants to start his own production, I mean, he's got a hell of a resume. Obviously, he's been with WWE for probably 30 years now, if not close to it. So, so long, Jim Johnston. Some great music, some great theme songs, but now CFO, I guess, takes over as the main music composers of WWE. Right. So that's the only really other things I had in GP were the stuff you went over. So I'm not going to go over any of that. But yeah, Jim Johnston released from WWE is my main thing that's happened over the past week or two.
Cool. All right, before we wrap up this podcast and before we announce our big guest next week, I want to tip my hat to WWE, man. We broke this on our Facebook page that Vince McMahon is paying for the rehab of Jeff Jarrett.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, Road Dogg, Jeff Jarrett are really good friends. Road Dogg saw what was going on with Jeff Jarrett. He reached out to him. Jeff Jarrett admitted he needed help. He brought that to Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon is now paying for Jeff Jarrett's alcohol rehab. What I learned today was there's a letter that's being sent out to everyone who has ever performed with WWE. Doesn't matter at what capacity, how long, what their status is, whether they're rich or whether they're dirt poor. Everyone's getting this letter, and it says if you have some kind of addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs, anything, WWE, no matter your status, will take care of every single charge that comes with your rehab. And they have a lady there that's been working there for 24 years that's heading up the program. And so I think that's a really good move on their part.
A very good move.
They're taking care of the people that made them what they are today. And, man, just want to tip my hat to the WWE and say that you guys made a great move.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's because obviously, a lot of former superstars have some kind of addiction, whether, like you say, it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whatever it is. Some have that problem, and some, the first step in solving a problem is admitting there is one. And like Jeff Jarrett did that, WWE's helping him out. And of all people, Jeff Jarrett, if they're helping Jeff Jarrett out, then obviously they will help pretty much anybody else out with any problem they may have. So big move there. Also, I think it's a good thing because it could help, patch up bad relationships with former talent. Like Jeff Jarrett, I'm obviously no love lost between Jeff Jarrett and WWE, but maybe this can patch things up, and who knows, maybe, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the possibility is much greater now that we may see Jeff Jarrett on WWE television at some point in the future. Same thing could happen with these other superstars that may need help that at least can still wrestle. I don't know if Jeff Jarrett can still wrestle. I think he can still. I don't know either. I haven't seen him wrestle in quite a while, but it's very good what WWE's doing, and it's going to patch up some bad relationships in the past, and could lead to something cool, some cool, bigger things in the future.
Right. All right. So now to our big announcement. So I watch more YouTube than I do regular TV at home. I love the YouTube universe. The people that I watch on YouTube are as big to me as The Rock, as big to me as your favorite show on NBC or any show that you watch on TV. So it is my pleasure to announce next week we'll be talking to Matt Zion from Reckless Eating. And if you haven't seen Reckless Eating on YouTube, I would say go to YouTube and search Reckless Eating. These guys are absolutely epic. And Matt Zion is a huge wrestling fan. He actually has a segment that he has on the channel called Reckless on Wrestling, where he will talk about what he thought about mostly just the pay-per-views, but he'll come on if something big happened in Raw, SmackDown, he'll talk about it. So he's a really big wrestling fan. He has great takes, so I'm interested to hear what he thinks about on some of the wrestling stuff that we talk about on a weekly basis, as well as I definitely want to get people to subscribe to his channel on YouTube. It's Reckless Eating. If you go to our MarkOutMania YouTube page and you subscribe to us, on the right side of the page, you're going to see our recommended channels. Reckless Eating is on there. And I would recommend subscribing to everybody that's on our recommended pages or channels because they're absolutely awesome. But with Reckless Eating, I mean, it's everything from the hottest chilies in the world to surströmming, which is the worst smelling food on the planet. It is rotten fish, and it's a delicacy in Sweden. And their surströmming video is absolutely amazing. And they do a whole lot of other stuff on there as well, drinking games and whatnot. But I'm definitely pumped to have Matt Zion on here next week. And we'll be talking to him via YouTube, which means we will be recording the video. If you are on the $5 a month patron from our Patreon page, you will be able to see that video on our Patreon page because that's exclusive content only seen on Patreon.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking forward to Matt Zion on the podcast next week. It'd be nice to get a different perspective on wrestling because everybody obviously has different perspectives. So really pumped to look forward to next week. I will be. I think I'm going to go on YouTube and watch some of his videos. So that way,
heck yeah.
So because I've never seen him. I've heard of him, never seen him though. So I'm going to go check out his YouTube channel this week.
Yes, and definitely look up their surströmming videos. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he pukes on everything, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Oh boy,
it's definitely dude humor for sure.
All right, man. Well, we got anything else?
No, that's it, man. I'm pumped to be back. I'm ready for next week. I'm ready for Clash of Champions. I'm ready to do that scorecard. Let's wrap it up.
All right. So thank you all for come and hang out with us again as we are back from our little Thanksgiving hiatus. We're back now. We're going to be here every week. May have when Christmas time rolls around, we may have to adjust the schedule a little bit, not too much. We're going to do our best to make sure we keep it as consistent as possible. But that's a couple of weeks away. Next week, Matt Zion, you definitely do not want to miss it. Next Sunday, I believe, is when we're going to go ahead and release it. So next Sunday, 10th. December the 10th. Be on the lookout for the all-new episode of Mark Out Mania with Matt Zion.
That's right. And remember, be safe, shop local, and be good to one another.
You've been listening to the MarkOutMania podcast, a Lake Area Media, LLC production. The views and opinions expressed in this show are those of Ryan Keith and Patrick Fry and are not affiliated with any wrestling promotion or company. Follow MarkOutMania on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. For all MarkOutMania links, news, and free podcasts, visit MarkOutMania.com. You've been marked.